listening to me in America. Instead, he ran away from it, and I said to the Romney campaign early on, unless Mitt is willing to donate $300 million and give it all away like tomorrow, he's going to be running as a rich guy. Push back on it. Say that, yes, I'm wealthy, and that's the beauty of America. And that's what I want for everybody. And instead, he didn't embrace it. What we need to do, we can't count on our leaders, guys. We can't. The Republicans, I said we're going to deal with them. They are a hot mess with a few exceptions. Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio on some stuff. I know. And by the way, on amnesty, why do you think that the president and the left now are suddenly so obsessed with amnesty? Because amnesty is the final missing piece to the fundamental transformation of the nation. You lock 68, 70 million new people into Obamacare, you take care of that part, and then you bring in tens of millions of illegals, you make them legal, you lock them into government programs, they become permanent Democratic voters, and it's over. And our side running around like, oh yeah, we got to do amnesty because, you know, we need a Hispanic vote, and they continually walk right into the trap because they don't understand the big picture. They don't understand the war that we're in. We need to be making the moral case for the free market every single day, and we've got to do it in emotional terms. I talked about how the left does this all the time. Think about it. Remember during the last campaign cycle, Granny in the wheelchair being thrown over the cliff? Right? Who wants Grandma being thrown over the cliff? Who wants Grandpa eating dog food? Who wants to drink dirty water? Who wants little Johnny to get a crappy education? Hard to argue against that stuff, and they know it. But the emotion is the only thing they have, and the reason they use it is because it works. Because it emotionally connects with people. We have to learn to make the moral case for the free market in ways that directly connect with people. And one of the things that I was heartened to see this week in the discussion about Obamacare is bringing real people who are now suffering acute pain because of socialized medicine, losing their health insurance, having their premiums go sky high, having their deductibles go sky high, their taxes now are creeping up, again, because it's a massive wealth redistribution scheme. You take those stories and you make them real for everybody else. You show the individual impact on people. You mirror the left's tactics. As Saul Alinsky once said, we have to mirror them. Okay, great, well, two can play at that game. Here are the Americans who are suffering on a day-to-day basis. I told the Romney campaign, you know, it's not just enough to talk about high unemployment. As conservatives, we tend to talk in really cold, hard facts, which are all true. But when you talk about what's going on in the economy, say, and the destructive nature of really big government policies or socialist policies, we tend to talk in terms of like the unemployment rate, 7.2, 8.5. Or we talk about the national debt, 17 trillion. Or we talk about the annual deficit, over 1 trillion. We talk in hard, cold numbers. And again, they're all true, but they don't connect. And I remember telling the Romney campaign, and obviously they didn't listen to me, they probably would have won if they did. And so whatever. If you want to come whatever. I remember telling them that I saw an interview with Don Hewitt, the legendary producer of 60 Minutes, years ago. And he was asked what the key of a good story was. And Don Hewitt said, my whole philosophy in telling a good story to people is to personalize it, emotionalize it, make it real to people. So don't tell me a story about terrorism. Tell me a story about a terrorist. And I said to the Romney campaign, I used that example, and I said, instead of talking about unemployment and the rates and the deficit and all of that, why don't you have a bus full of the long-term unemployed meet you at every campaign stop, and then talk to the local media, tell them your story about how you've been unemployed for 40 weeks, 50 weeks, 60 weeks, how you can't find a job in Obama's America, how your family is suffering, how you worry about meeting your rent or your mortgage or putting food on the table for your kids. Don't tell me about unemployment, show me unemployment. And that's what our side needs to do desperately, the moral case for the free market done in real and emotional terms. I'll leave you with this, and then I'm happy to take some questions. When I was writing my book last year, I was thinking, well, the conventional wisdom is that the Founding Fathers gave us 3 branches of government, right? The executive, legislative, and judicial. All, by the way, are now in the crapper. And the Founding Fathers anticipated this moment that all 3 branches would be unreliable, corrupt, and in the crapper. And that's why they gave us a 4th branch of government. And that 4th branch of government is a stealth branch of government. It's us. It's we the people. It's the American people. We tend to lose sight of the fact when we're being overrun by socialized medicine and the revolutionaries and high property taxes. We tend to lose sight of the fact that they work for us, or supposed to, and that we're the ones who have the reins of the ultimate power. But we only have the reins of ultimate power if we use it. Our side has been reticent to use those reins of power. Our side is busy working and raising families and doing things that normal Americans do, unlike the revolutionaries who are really not normal. And so while we're busy running our lives and running our businesses and running our families, the left has been doing this fundamental transformation of the nation. That's why it's up to us to use the gift that the Founding Fathers gave to us of the ultimate power for America and turn this thing around. Sometimes I'm asked if I think it's too late. I don't think it's too late, but we're getting close. The hour is late, because I think that it's an outstanding question as to whether Obama and the revolutionaries have gotten us past the tipping point, where more people are dependent on government than not, more people are in the government sector than work in the private sector. We currently have 48 million people on food stamps in America. That's a record high. That's more than the entire population of Spain. And it's growing because they want it to grow. Those of us normal Americans look at the Obama economy and think, what a disaster, what a mess. We look at the Obamacare debacle and go, what a nightmare. The revolutionaries look at all of this and think it's a rousing success. That's why more than ever, it's up to us. Groups like Americans for Prosperity that take so many slings and arrows in the press because they are a threat, just the way the Tea Party was a threat. Tea Party had to be killed in the cradle for the left to survive and ram this agenda through. So what do? They sicked the most fearsome arm of the US government on the Tea Party, the IRS. Don't tell me Obama didn't know, he ordered it. You got the IRS on conservatives, Tea Party groups, to crush them in the cradle before they can gain any traction. Why? Because they don't want the grassroots mobilization that we talk about here today. They've been doing it and they've monopolized it and they've had huge advantages out of it for decades. They don't want any competition. Because you know what? They know when they've got competition for Americans' hearts and minds based on limited government and freedom, especially economic freedom, lower taxes, ability to run your small business the way you want without incredibly burdensome regulations. They know that if they have to compete there, they will lose. And so therefore they have to eliminate all competition. And that meant killing the Tea Party in the cradle. That meant going after other grassroots and conservative religious organizations. And so far they've gotten away with it, but not totally. And that's why we're all in this room today. That's why AFP does the good work that they do fearlessly. We all have to be fearless. Sometimes it's tough, I know, and sometimes it's exhausting. Believe me, I know. They're counting on you being exhausted. They're trying to exhaust you. They're trying to pound you into the dirt so you can't fight back or you won't want to fight back and you'll just shrug your shoulders and say, what can we do? It's over, it's done. It is not. It's not over until the fat lady sings. It's not over until Texas flips. And that's why we have to fight this every step of the way. Every step of the way. Use the power that the Founding Fathers gave you as that stealth 4th branch of government. I do every day, television, radio, my columns, speaking to groups like this, because it is so important. Apart from your own family, fighting for your country is the most important thing that you can do. Every previous generation is counting on us, guys. From the founding fathers, who are rolling in their graves right now, to the greatest generation that stormed the beaches at Iwo Jima and Normandy and beyond to fight for this great nation. They are all counting on us. We might not be storming beaches, literally, but we, as I said, have our own war to fight, and this is it. So let's go. God bless you. Thank you.